If you go to your GP and your GP said to you, your blood test shows that you don't have diabetes, you are on borderline, does it gives a call of celebration or a call for action? You're right. It will call for celebration as well. So the answer is both, because the good news is you don't have diabetes, but you need to need a call for action, which is, you're right, because you just don't sit it. You have to do in order for you to prevent from the next step level. When your doctor found out that you are on a borderline, that means you are in the pre-diabetes stage. Therefore, the government, when I say government, it's the NHS, yeah, will do their best in order for you to prevent jumping on that road. Now, they will do they call it National Diabetes Prevention Program, that they will monitor you every year, yearly blood tests, yearly everything for you on that road because of this situation. Now, what is diabetes? Next slide, Kenny, please. I think all of us know what is diabetes. As you can see, it is a chronic metabolic conditions, disease, that characterized by I cannot see, anyway, characterized by elevated levels of blood, glucose or blood sugar, basically, which leads over time that really causing your blood to rise. Second, okay. Now, there are many types of diabetes, basically. But for the sake of this presentation, we just talk the very common one. As we know, type 1 diabetes is basically the pancreas, specifically the islets of Langerhans, is just stop giving insulin. The second one, the body still produces its insulin, but it's just build it up, and so therefore it becomes resistance, yeah? And the third one is the gestational diabetes, which we know from pregnancy, but it happens mostly on the third trimester. Next slide, Kenny, please. Now, who are the risk factors? There are risk factors of diabetes. They are categorized into two: modifiable and non-modifiable, yeah? When we talk about non-modifiable, that means we cannot do about it, yeah? These are, as written up there, these are the family history of diabetes and pre-diabetes. That's why, as I said earlier on, when you have a pre-diabetes, they have to monitor because the risk goes higher if you have that already, yeah? And again, we cannot change the color of our color, or, you know, it's basically ethnic background. If you come from Asia, the high risk is Asian, Afro-Caribbean, and what else? I think that's the two there. And then we have the Hispanic, and of course, we cannot change our age, okay? Now, the modifiable, which we can do about it. Next slide, please. So modifiable is that being overweight, we can do something about it. Physical inactivity, poor diet, high blood pressure, all this high cholesterol and alcohol, smoking, stress, and poor sleep. Those are those modifiable. Next slide, please. Now, statistics shows now that there are 463 million who are diabetes, and the number is increasing. It's been predicted that it will go higher more by 2030, and that is the number in there. Next slide, please. Now, there are diabetes facts and figure. The NHS, as we know, 463 something earlier on, spending quite a big amount of money, and it costs like 1.6 billion in their calculation in that by 2015. Another thing is that it can, all this kind of statistics, 1 in 3 of people who are above 65 can be diabetic. um, sorry, I cannot see. Anyway, that slide, it's too far away. Okay, so those are those things that we need to be aware of. Just a simple, I'm talking about this is that it is a simple illustration, a very, what do you call this one? A very simple physiology, yeah, very layman's physiology that about the relationship of sugar to our body. When we eat, especially the carbohydrates, the body converts into glucose. Glucose is sugar. When the glucose, the body converts into glucose, when the body senses that there is a glucose, it signals the pancreas to secrete insulin. So the pancreas says, come on, the brain said, pancreas, come on, you need to secrete insulin that there is sugar in there. And then that insulin will bring the glucose to the cells, and that glucose will be used as a fuel in order for us to be energetic and things like that. So that's why we're eating, for us to be energetic, okay? Now, for the diabetes, those sugar that we're eating, they convert into sugar, are not all going to the cells. They're not all being used. So the it is just floating in the bloodstream. That's why when they have this like finger prick check or here, they can say that your blood sugar is high. Now, the body senses that there are still loads of sugar. So therefore, what's the action of the pancreas, especially the beta cells, which is the hormone basically, will keep on checking insulin and insulin. Come on. You need to, because there's still sugar in there. You need to bring it to the cell so that this body will work perfectly and things like that. But what happened is that over the time, the pancreas gets tired. And so therefore, it lessens the function. It go into a mode kind of thing that, I'm used to that. I've been doing this job anyway, but it's still sugar in there, still a lot. So until such time that the pancreas, limited amount of, insulin that's produces. Hence, you can hear that those people on type 2 diabetes have this insulin. Even though a lot of people would say, am I type 1? I said, no, you're still type 2, but it's just that the pancreas is not secreting insulin. Now, this sugar is good in our body, but we need sugar, but if it's too much sugar, it's damaged. That's why, if you can see the facts in there that sorry. Can we make it a little bit bigger? Thank you. A bit more. Okay. So why am I saying this? Because it damages. I didn't realize that this is a vascular disease. Why? Because it damages the nerves. It damages the blood vessels. And so therefore, those complications of diabetes, the facts in there, that diabetes is a major cause of blindness, kidney failure, heart attacks, stroke, and lower amputation, as well as erectile dysfunction, because of the problem that irritates and damages the nerve of the body, as well as the blood vessels. Imagine of the thickness of the sugar that you say it happens. That's how it appears in our bloodstream that's flowing. Okay. Now, another one is that we know that diabetes, we can't prevent this because this is a lifestyle disease, and so therefore we need to do something about it. And now, to achieve a healthy lifestyle change, we should be, if you're planning a healthy lifestyle change, the key is that it needs to be achievable or attainable, and it should be sustainable. Because a lot of people, when they found out that they're diabetic, they go into extreme. Oh, I'm not eating this, I'm not eating this, and I'm not eating this. And after a year, they give up. I had enough. I cannot do it anymore because it's too difficult. There's nothing food for me. So that's how it is. Next slide, Kenny, please. Okay, we know that our body has a daily food allowance requirements. In order to achieve that, we have, they call it a daily requirements of 200 calories, and we have found that the carbohydrates, the fats and everything, those are those things. Now, for those people who wants to lose weight, the recommendation said that you have to have a calorie deficit of 600, and therefore you lose a bit of weight. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of, as far as I can remember, the last time that I checked, there are more than 30 kinds of diet. There is Atkins diet, there is 800-calorie diets, there is paleo diets, there are vegetarian diet, there is vegan diet, there are a lot of diet. Name it, you have it. And even there is a diet as tolerated. And I said that diet is tolerated is eat all you can. You can. That's how it is. But it is kind of like really mind-blowing. Our social medias give us a lot of information that we can know about. And to those who are interested to lose weight, there is what we call NHS weight loss app that you can download, and you will be guided of how much calories and the exercises that the suggestion in order for you to lose weight. Now, why am I telling this? Because of the many, as I discussed it earlier, because of the many side complication of diabetes. Now, I want to show to you this picture that really blows my mind away. When I attended the diabetes seminar, I come to realize, I thought I know, but only to find out that, and this makes my approach in my food change by the grace of God. So, this picture, yeah, you squeeze that one, Kenny, please, so that it will. Okay, as you can see, this is just a example of the normal breakfast that we have. You see a Cocoa Pops in there. How many grams is that? Is it 60 grams? 30 grams. How much is this 30 grams? It's just really a small bowl, isn't it? Yeah, it's without sugar, that's without milk or any added thing. You can see when it's converted to how many teaspoons of sugar in there? 7. And the next food, corn flakes. How many teaspoons of sugar is that? 8. And you can see the shredded wheat, all those kind of thing. That's how already, imagine if there is a sugar in front of you, 8 teaspoons, you don't like to eat that sugar, do you? Yeah? Next slide, please, Kenny. Thank you. Now, this one are, one of this example there is Basmati rice. How many teaspoons of sugar in there? I think it's about 10, yeah? And how many grams of Basmati rice that is a cook already? 150, isn't it? Yeah, how much is 150 in our plate? It's only a small portion, yeah? Yet, it loaded already with that, yeah, teaspoons of sugar. And you can see, I want you to really have a look and you know, decipher, because I have a question later on. Next slide, please, Kenny. Another thing is, this talks about the fruits that we were eating. Banana is really high in sugar. Grapefruits, all those kind of things. It gives us an information of how much sugar loaded in that certain point of how many grams is that? 120, okay. Next slide, Kenny, please. Now, this is the last slide. There are a lot of You can get information. This is a public health collaboration where you can see yourself, and if you want to Google it at home and study yourself, there is the information in there. What is that? The potato, isn't it? It's the boiled potato. There's nothing on it yet there. But how many sugars loaded in there for only how many grams? 9 already. So as you can see, those things are really, you can look back and say that, And that's why I said to you earlier on, when I attended the seminar, this changed my perspective. And by the grace of God, I'm still on the process. Now, now I'm going to show you something. In order for us to give us a clear understanding of this figure that I'm showing it to you, I want you to guess maybe 3 or 2 pictures. Sorry. This is a fish and chips. Now, in the fish and chips, obviously fish and chips and some mashed peas in there. How much sugar you think, by looking in that, how much sugar, teaspoon of sugar in there, you think? How many? 10? Okay, 12? Okay. There are 33 teaspoons of sugar in here. Okay? Another one. How about this? Burger, chips, and milkshake. How many? There are 40 teaspoons of sugar in there. Last 2, spaghetti. $40. Okay, closer. Okay, there are 30 teaspoons of sugar in there. The last one. This is salad, and I think it's an egg omelette. It's 0. Yeah? And so, it kind of give you an understanding. I've got lots of pictures, but for the sake of time, we have to cut it off. Kenny, next slide, please. As you can see, this is Dr. Raquel Cisbreno discussed it last Sabbath. The ideal recommended eat well plate is, imagine half of the plate is already your vegetables and your fruits, which makes a quarter of it is the protein and a quarter is your carbohydrates. Do you think I will be able to cope with this? The truth of the matter is I can't do it. It's difficult. It is. A lot of people said, it's ridiculous, Judith. It's ridiculous. But in order for us to achieve a high quality of a healthy life, we have to do something about it. As I said earlier on, it should be attainable. It should be sustainable. Yeah? Now, it took me sometimes, it took me 53 years to come into realization that I am doing enough. And so therefore, I said to myself, Judith, enough is enough. And so therefore, by the grace of God, I tried with his help. The Bible says, it says that I can do, because looking at this, you can do, I can do. You can do nothing. He said, apart from me, you can do nothing except by the grace of God. Okay, next slide, can you please? Now, the reason for why is that because God gives us food to enjoy, yeah? it says that we have to enjoy it because it's His blessing. So let your food be your medicine. Yeah? And not your medicine be your food. The truth of the matter is that it takes us temperance, discipline, or self-control. Again, God gives us to those who ask, it shall be given. I know for sure that we will be able to achieve on this. He said that He reminded us that our body is the temple of God. So we have to look after it in order to be a best health, in order for us to work best for His glory. Next slide, Kenny, my last two slides. And so therefore, in conclusion, I love this verse, yeah? Paul give us a message in 1 Corinthians. It's an amplified verse. Can I ask Jade for you to read, please? Because, yes, that
one. 1 Corinthians 9:27. But like a boxer, I strictly discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I myself will not somehow be disqualified as unfit for service.
Amen. Thank you so much, Jade. So yeah, that's why it takes discipline, and by the grace of God, it's only in His mercy that we'll be able to achieve this, because human as we are bound to fall. But by the help of God, we will be able to achieve. But just as simple changes in our life, as the weeks, months, years go by, you come to realize to the fullness of time, because God gives us the responsibility. So the last verse that I'm going to say read is that blessed, they said that brethren, what is that? Beloved. So God's desire for us that we will be prosper and be of good health. And thank you. Last slide, Kenny. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something, and may God bless you all with our trying our best to make our body healthy that God requires us for each and every one of us. God bless you all.